Hello, is this thing on? How's it going? Kind of getting situated here with some pages for today's workload, but yeah, I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're hanging out, just kind of relaxing, doing whatever you feel like doing today. And I know that that's not always easy to do, but I hope you get to do it a little bit. These are some pages that I've been working on for the next TerraQuil book, and I think what I'm doing today is I'm going to be ink washing these. These look like they're mostly done for, like line work. I'm still going to have to add some spot blacks to these, but they're pretty much ready to go for ink finishes, so I think I'm going to jump right into that immediately. And just kind of get going with that. I guess I should maybe explain. Sorry, the microphone is right there. I should probably explain how I'm gonna finish these. So as you can see, you can probably just see some of the pencil in here. This is all done on 140-pound watercolor paper, and this was all inked with, what is it? One of these. They're all over the place right now. They're these Tombow brush markers, and they're amazing. They're like I felt bad switching to them from like brush and Crowquill pen, because these do such a good job mimicking everything that those tools can do. Not exactly, but you can get very close in some situations. But part of me felt like, shouldn't I just be getting really good with a brush and a Crowquill pen instead of switching over to these? But these are fantastic. I honestly can't recommend them enough if you're looking for an interesting tool to give you like a very different line weight than what you normally would be getting. From, like, let's just say, for example, a ballpoint pen or something, which these are also great, and I'm going to use these shortly. But yeah, excellent tools, these Tombows, and they're everywhere. I think you can find them for like $3 at probably most art stores, and definitely online. Who makes them? I don't know if Tombow is the brand or the model, but just look that up, and you'll find something. Need an eraser. So I'm going to, excuse me, get rid of all this pencil here, because I've added, everything that I need to as far as line work goes. I think I have. I'm gonna have to revisit, but anyway. And this is a page I was just working on before I was getting started. I may go back and finish. But today, I think I just want to finish this page, and I'll talk a little bit about it and the choices. Now, I don't know if this eraser is a little loud in the microphone. If it is, I hope it's nice. So we'll get rid of all this pencil work, and that'll leave us with just the lines. These gum erasers are incredible, by the way. Feels like they could get ink off paper if you're not careful. They're so good. I don't think they can do that. But, oh man, they're awesome. Great tools. You'll know that you found a good one when you can bend it and it just splits easily. I think Staedtler makes a gum eraser, and they recently changed the formula. And it's just, I gotta be honest, it's the worst eraser I've ever used. I can't imagine having to switch to that eraser for the rest of my drawing career, and I'm so glad that other companies have embraced this kind of older formula. And you can kind of see, like, a lot of erasers do this, but it's just like disintegrating on the page, right? It's just completely falling apart. And you want that. That's how you know you found a good gum eraser. So get rid of all this pencil. I'm gonna have to clean up the gutter a little bit here. You can see that some of the line work went into it. And that'll be easy. Oh, there is one thing I have to keep for these pencils though, and that's these mountains in the background. You can kind of barely see them. Those are going to be important because I'm not going to ink the mountains with a brush or a marker or anything. I'm going to keep those there and ink wash over them, but they won't have any actual line art, and so I've got to kind of keep them around for that. And I'm doing that because they're in the distance. They're kind of tucked away back there, and if something is in the background, it's probably better just to give it a form but not an outline. Not always, it really depends on the style, but for what I'm doing right now, we're just going to add a little bit of ink wash to that mountain, to these mountains back here. And that should be good for them. We don't need detail. They're kind of pushed into the background. They're going to be light. I think the rule is, and I say I think because I can never keep track of all of these rules for arting, but something, so if it's daytime, things in the background are washed out, things in the foreground are quite dark, and then I think it switches at nighttime, where everything in the background is in silhouette, and then everything in the foreground is either, well, not in silhouette, but usually maybe a little more vibrant than anything in the background. And I think that's, I don't know if that's always applies, but that is a rule that I've read, and who knows if it's a thing or not. I'm pretty sure it is, though, and really all you have to do is look outside when it's either day or night out. So I'm gonna fix these panels here, just kind of clean up the gutter a little bit. I had to kind of cheat when I was, not cheat, but when I was drawing these panels, I realized that the tool that I used to do that ran out of ink. And so I had to improvise and use something different. And I can tell a huge difference in the way that this was paneled as opposed to another page that was paneled with the marker that I usually use. This one, not so much. I think it's fine though. It turned out fine. Okay. Oh, make sure you're stretching if you're sitting at a desk all day. Kind of over. All right, I'm gonna go in with one of these Pentel brush pens. These are awesome, by the way. They're cartridge based, which this one's almost out. It looks like there's just enough in there. It's right about there where we can, we might be able to finish inking this page with this. Hey, Chugga Chug is what's happening. It's going good, thanks. How are you doing? I'm just kind of hanging out, inking new Terracool comics today. This is for Terracool Horizons 2, which is going to be the next book in the Terracool series, I guess. The first book, sorry, in Terracool Horizons, I should say, which it's Kickstarter tomorrow. Terrifying and exciting, but yeah, it's always nerve-wracking getting ready to start a new Kickstarter project. This one's a little smaller. It's only a 32-page black and white book with 2 short stories in it, but I'm basically doing that 5 times over the course of the year, and I'm going to put out these very small books that are just short stories, and that's what this is here. This is going to be a short story in the second book. Doing good. Just finished lunch when I saw the stream notification. Cool. Well, thanks for hopping in. Lunch sounds so good right about now. Oh man. I hope it was good. I hope it was tasty and yum yum. So this brush seems to be, I think I was talking about it a little bit on Wednesday, maybe. These brushes are amazing. They're so good for anything. I haven't used this for something and regretted that choice so far. In art, like art wise, I guess. It's been amazing. They don't have to be replaced very often. The cartridges seem to last a long time. The cartridges are waterproof, which is so hard to find in like kind of replaceable cartridge based pens. Let me a little bit of feathering up here into this. I don't know why I said let me, as though you want to stop me. But there we go. Done. A little bit of light peeking through it. Okay, so normally, right here, she's wearing kind of this black top. I would normally ink that. I'm gonna not ink that solid black right now. I think. Think about this for 1 second. No, I am going to. This is the fun of improvising your inks. Kind of, yeah, a lot of choices on the fly. I am going to, but I'm going to leave a halo here so that we can see her hairline and it's not just blending in. Something like that. Leave. Down, feather it from the other end. This one as well, but it doesn't need any light reflecting off. I think that's the extent of everything that needs solid ink on it. I think I'm just going to add a little bit here under his chin. Then maybe just a bit under here where this cloth breaks down. And just a little. So this is all kind of just being improvised, kind of based off of, I want to say light source, but there really isn't too much of a light source. I guess they're outside, so the light is kind of hitting them from the top down, but it's not a dramatic light source, so why would we add, you know, too much shadow, I guess, or interesting lighting effects. Now, you don't need a dramatic light source to add all of that stuff. You can just kind of base it off of the mood of the panel sometimes. And break the rules of lighting in the scene as long as you're breaking them for a good reason, and as long as it makes sense to do that. You can get away with it. But we don't really need to right now. It's just some friends hugging. I may add a little bit of something in the background, maybe some leaf, something. But I'm gonna wait on that. Well, all the rest of these solid inks are in. It took me a long time to learn that you don't have to follow your light source for every single decision that you're making. Sometimes I think there's a type of lighting. You're gonna have to fact check this. I think there's a type of lighting called sculpture lighting, and it specifically is a type of lighting that maybe it doesn't exist if I'm remembering this correctly. Type of lighting that kind of defies how light works in favor of capturing the essence of a figure. That checks out. And I think it's called sculpture lighting. I would definitely look that up. But sometimes you need that. You need a light source that doesn't exist or make sense, and is only really there to capture form and emotion in a dramatic way, in whatever dramatic way you're trying to portray. But yeah, it may not be called sculpture lighting. But Bern Hogarth has an amazing book I would show you right now, but it's packed away because I'm kind of getting ready to move. But Bern Hogarth has an amazing book. I think it's called Dynamic Light and Shading. And if you're looking for an incredible book to teach you kind of everything that you would need to know about understanding light and shading, and not just in comics. Let me move this into the camera. Obviously, I don't think it's made, but Bern Hogarth has this amazing style that can be applied to comics, for sure. For sure, his anatomy is incredible, and so is his line work. But yeah, he really understood light and shadow, and I would highly recommend that book to anybody who's interested. But there's so many books that you can pick up on that subject matter. His just is one of the best, easily. Him and I want to say Jack Ham. Those guys made like legendary art books that if you're not aware of them, you absolutely should be. I think it's Hamm. Turn just a little bit. Okay, so something else we have to do in this panel is the trees here. Probably flip this. And I'm going to flip this because I'm stroking this towards me. This brush pen, I should say. And I would like to capture the point of the tip as much as I can. It's almost like feathering. You're basically feathering at this point. But yeah, this is kind of how I ink pine trees. They're almost always just in silhouette with some feathering for the needles. Really, like with most things, you're not really, especially when it's so stylized like this, you're not really inking a tree. You're trying to just capture the essence of it. And I think something like this works fine for this style. It's going to change depending on the look of the book and the world that you're drawing. This I like, this works for me. If I was painting these pages, I would probably leave a little bit more space open for color on those, but we don't need to do that. Okay, I think this panel's done, and I think the next panel shouldn't take too long. A little bit under the chin. I'm gonna get his outfit here. He's wearing the same outfit as the girl in the girl he's talking to. And they have this this black kind of undershirt here. Hey, I also think yeah, all right. I gotta hit the sides of his glasses here. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of have screwed up these glasses on, well, it feels like every panel, but I think I can live with that. Okay, yeah, I mean, he doesn't really have much. Oh, you know what I want to get? I want to get the back of her hand here. Very thin lines there. It's gonna actually kind of be hard to see with the camera, but something like that. And then more pine trees. Flip this again. Here. Be messy with these. They're just out there in the background. I can start to feel the ink cartridge. And then hang out a little bit, a little quickly. It's fine. I think there's a couple tucked away in the art desk. Well, maybe we'll finish up this panel. Yeah, it's definitely starting to kind of get a little crispy here. So finish up this panel and then swap it out. In the foreground, so put her in silhouette. And again, this kind of speaks to what I was saying earlier about how during the daytime things up close are going to be darker and things far away are going to be lighter. And that kind of switches at nighttime, or in the dark, I should say. Okay, do you want to keep pushing this? Let's just keep pushing it. We'll see how far we can we can make this last. Yeah, okay. Keep going, I guess, where it's going to be like in Seinfeld, where they just drive the car until it runs out. I guess we'll start with this dude here. Done. I went over the lines a little bit. That's probably fine. Switch over to Hereford. And we'll just get these leaves wrapped up. In the concept art, those were like a navy blue, but because this comic is in black and white, we just kind of have to well, we have to use values other than color, and that's going to kind of like challenge us a little bit when it comes to contrast. I don't mind one bit. I think deciding on a character's outfit and how it deals with contrast is actually a really fun challenge. Not always easy, but even if you're creating comics in black and white, kind of visualizing them in color is a good way to really test that. Okay, she's looking happy. This is, I think, the second last page of the book. So maybe for once there's a bit of a happy ending in a Terracool story. That said, don't get your hopes up. Fill in instead of a ribbon here. And then I think the last thing would be this entry in the back. That, and then well, I guess this would be the last. Okay, so just about done. I can move into ink washing for that shortly. Probably let that dry before I just jump in. Actually, we'll start over here. So, sorry, this part isn't going to be very interesting. Sugar coated. It's just a bunch of trees in an empty panel. I don't know why saying that just made me think of the Mortal Kombat 2 trailer that dropped today, which, you know, I'm not a trailer guy. I don't tend to watch them. Not since Sony's Spider-Man 2, the video game. Just spoiled the coolest part of the game in the trailer for some reason. And not just spoiled it, they actually showed the entire cutscene that kind of made the game incredible from a story perspective. Okay. But yeah, I ended up watching the Mortal Kombat 2 trailer. Looks awful. I can't wait. I think when I say awful, I mean fantastic, by the way. It's just 80s action trash and well, 90s action trash as well. But yeah, I don't know how anyone could watch that and think this doesn't look like what a Mortal Kombat movie is supposed to look like. It's actually perfect. Man of the hour, how's it going? Going well. How are you doing? How's that new console treating you? And are you getting Bonanza today? Okay. That is good to go. So I think the only thing left now is ink washing, which I'm going to jump into. Oh, just a moment. Maybe I should stretch for it. It's been awesome, honestly. I think Pokemon Violet, it feels like a whole new game, doesn't it? It's so good. I can't believe, like, it is like a different game. I actually just beat the second DLC last night, and I don't know if I beat it, but I saw the credits. But it's, yeah, it is a different game, and people still complain about it, and I don't get it. I don't understand how, if you play, I'm not getting into it. I'm not getting into it. It's just one of those things that no, okay, sorry. I just said I'm not getting into it, and then I started to get into it. It's fine. Great game. I really like Scarlet and Violet on Switch 1. And they're even better on Switch 2. But yeah, that's good. I'm glad you're playing it again. I think people wrote that off when it first came out. And yeah, it's good. Feels real good, and of course can't make anyone happy. Yeah, that's the thing. It just won't happen. But at least we're happy with it, right? That's pretty sweet. Brush. I don't know what kind. Okay, here. I'm gonna show off a bit of a new brush that I've been really enjoying lately. Now, I don't know if I would get one of these again. Is the only thing. This person who plays mostly 20-plus-year-old Pokemon games. Violet was pretty fun. Thank you. It was pretty fun. I don't know why I'm thanking you. I didn't have anything to do with the game. But yeah, I felt like I was losing my mind when Scarlet and Violet came out because people were like lining up to hate on it, and they were just even in like the Pokemon subreddit, it was like I couldn't tell if these people actually like Pokemon or not. And it's okay not to like the game. It's okay not to like probably most games, any game, any game. But man, it was just like it was virulent hatred towards Game Freak for this game, and it just didn't make any sense to me. Yeah, but anyway, they did a good job. They did a good job. I want to be the one, but I'm going to be the one. Yeah, yeah. But I don't want to be the one. Sorry, I was going to show off this new brush, which, okay, at first glance, this is going to look not like a brush. Yeah, don't use your imagination. Yeah. Called a Tintoretto. That is Kalinsky Sable from Italy, but this is a travel brush. And it's one of the best sable brushes I've used in a really long time. But the point still just doesn't stay the way that I would want a sable brush to stay. And yeah, I'm starting to realize that I don't think I'll ever get another brush that works as well as this Winsor Newton Professional Watercolor Sable brush. This is the best brush I've ever used. They were like 16 bucks. Now they're just all gone. But yeah, despite the frame drops on the original, it was still a phenomenal game. Yeah, I agree. I agree. You're not going to hear me argue with you about that. Beginning of an SV was super buggy. I could understand. Yeah, no, it's much more stable. It's a great game. Yeah, I even thought it was a very good. I think I put like 100 hours into it on Switch 1. I must have really liked it. And that said, I understand why people were like, "No, it's a bad game." I just disagree with them. I don't think it was a bad game. I think it was a heavily flawed game. That didn't make it a bad game. It was still fun. I have to figure out what I'm going to do for lighting on the face here. I mean, I think that's fine. Put a little bit in the usual hot spots. There. Yeah, I wonder. So apparently Donkey Kong got really good reviews, and I'm really hoping that it holds up to the hype. I haven't seen anything since the launch, or not launch trailer, since the very first time they showed it off. For me, I was like, okay, this looks good. I probably don't need to see anything more for it. And so I haven't seen any trailers since, and I really don't know anything about it. But from what I saw, it looked awesome when they first showed it off, and I'm sure it probably looks even better after a little more was revealed. I want to do this. I guess we'll get into the folds here. Maybe add a few more with brush like that. Figuring things out, which half the fun of inking is kind of all the improvisation you get to do. In most cases, if you're inking somebody's pencils, you can't really take too many opportunities to improvise. This is not that. Let's just go nuts. Oh, prepares imaginations. Excellent. Hello. And yes, by all means, prepare that imagination. feel like they've had a name sitting in their back pocket for decades, just waiting for the right moment. Honestly, it is a perfect name for. It's not even a Donkey Kong game, for a monkey game. Just any game about monkey. Um, that's the name for it, right? I'm curious. Like, is it a platformer? Is it? I think yeah. Sorry, it is a platformer, right? Like we know that. I guess just what kind of platform? Put that. Put a little bit on his front, I think, because she's going to be blocking the light. Yeah, that makes sense. But I'm driving my friends nuts by shiny hunting Charcadet almost immediately after starting. Oh my god, what the? Why would you do that? I mean, I understand why you do that. Super cool design. Super cool design. But yes, I'm sure they really appreciated that for sure. But yeah, that actually, I think Charcadet was on my team for once I found out what it was, and I'm kind of a bit of a sucker for that typing. Thought it was really cool. But yeah, super neat design. And I don't really like the bipedal Pokemon. I think they're a little too close to Digimon territory sometimes. Sometimes. I think I want to expand on this panel a little bit. Arcadet and Ceruledge are sick Pokemon. Yeah, they are. Yeah, I can't disagree. Super cool designs. I don't know why, but I personally like the shiny Charcadet line. Okay. I understand why people don't like it. Hold on, I gotta look this up real quick. Sorry. Shiny Charcadet. Hmm. I ended up running into a shiny Mankey, and it's one of those. I want to say like a weird holdover from Gen 1, when the shinies were just green, and it was like kind of ew. You know what I mean? Like not to not to be too mean, but they just weren't really desirable Pokemon, and so I got this green Mankey, and I was really disappointed because it's like, you know, if you're lucky during your playthrough, you get one or two. And yeah, it was a green Mankey. And then when it turned into Annihilate, it looks so good shiny. So I kind of hit the shiny lottery there. Okay, so the shiny Charcadets. Hold on. Is it just the eyes? Am I missing? Hmm. Interesting. Am I see? Can you confirm? Am I seeing this correctly? Is it just the eyes, or that's a? Huh. Used to one in 8,192 hunts. So this was a breath of fresh air. That's nice. I love that you just have that number kind of memorized. That's excellent. Background is a palette swab. Half the Pokemon shinies were green because of lack of colors. Exactly. Yeah, yeah. It was not really a. You know, we're gonna make this green because that's the coolest color for the shinies. Yeah, that's just the way that it kind of worked out, right? And it's I just think, you know, when I play a new Pokemon game, I'm usually gonna try and stack my team with only new Pokemon. Like they have to be from this generation kind of thing. That looks a little bit better. I have a little bit more shadow in front of him because she's in the way. I say in his way, she's hugging him. I don't think that hugs are you getting in somebody's way or somebody getting in my way. She's in front of him. Probably the better way to say that. A little bit more into some of these folds here. Okay, I think I like that. Oh, I gotta darken up her bow a little bit there. Yeah, the only change is the eyes. Okay, so okay, that's what a weird. That sucks. That is, sorry, it doesn't suck. But my God, to have to hunt that. Yeah, I'm sorry that you had to go through that. That's a lot of work. A lot of work, especially if you're playing on the handheld screen and you have to. Yeah, it's so hard to figure out if there were shinies, I imagine. But good for you, you did it. You did it. He was hunting for shiny Beldum and Ruby for 2 years. I got familiar with the number 8192. So is that the number with like a shiny charm added? Or is that just the number? Because the shiny charm takes that down, right? If I remember correctly. Actually, was there a shiny charm in Ruby? And Diamond and Ruby, wasn't? Terrible Horizons tomorrow stack for so forth. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm terrified, to be honest. It's just a weird time, I think, for self-publishing. I've been seeing a post today from somebody who like does a lot of Kickstarters, and he was like, "Yeah, it's over." You know, I'm like, "What does that? What does that mean?" Like, I have one coming out tomorrow. I hope it's not over. Okay, I'm gonna just add. Used. But yeah, so yeah, Terrible Horizons tomorrow. I'm excited about it. Regardless, I just really want to get some new comics out there. And I think, you know, again, this is not a huge goal. This is a very small print run. But I will be offering like art and you know, some fun an accoutrement, you could say. Okay, I think I can stop inking this now. This panel, I think, looks done. Maybe I'll just put a little bit of... And this is why I have to stop saying I think it looks done. Do a little bit of that. Shiny Charm didn't exist until Gen 5, so Gens 2 to 4 were full odds. Oh, that sucks. Except for some methods like Masuda and Radar, the Gen 3 has 0 ways to lower the odds. Wow, okay. Well, that's fun. I guess that makes it the hardest game to shiny hunt in then, eh? Kind of cool that you still managed to... Oh. Something I always think about when a new gen comes out is kind of getting into the nitty-gritty of of the game, like the EVs and IVs and shiny hunting and all of that. And I still maybe one day will. I've been saying that for like 20 years, so I won't. But yeah, it's always fascinated me, that whole scene of just getting good at Pokemon. I think the thing is I don't really play multiplayer or do online battles or anything like that, and the base game isn't challenging enough to ever need you paying attention to all that, right? And so it just never happens. But I'm always fascinated when people jump into those aspects of the game. Kind of like speed running. I would never speed run a game, but I love videos about people breaking records and doing really neat things in the speed running community. Take a situation, but I'm sure it'll go well. He'll hit you go flying colors. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it would be nice. I'm gonna try very hard to just kind of keep my head up and hit all of these books that I want to do this year. All of these Terrible Horizons books, which if I haven't, I think I mentioned. It's going to be a 5-book series. Each book is going to be roughly 32 pages or so, and contain 2 short stories each. So when it's all wrapped up, it'll be a 10 short story series. And yeah, everything's already written. I'm excited about it. And he's both the hardest and easiest games to shiny hunt in. Okay, so hold on. You're gonna have to explain the easiest, I guess. Is it because the odds are the base odds are the lowest that any game has? Is that basically it? Huh. Speedrunners freak me out, especially the Mario 64 speedrunners. Yeah, so that's that's kind of what got me watching speedrun videos, was the 64 speedrunners. I couldn't believe some of the stuff these players were doing. And it just felt like the ceiling was constantly being broken for a really long time there. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It was a really neat community to kind of just watch. And there's, like in every community, there was a whole bunch of drama around validity of runs and methods, and that was always super cool to just watch a little bit. Nooks and crannies of things, yep. It was pretty wild. Very cool though. But yeah, I could never, contribute to communities like that. It's just, yeah, wouldn't be able to. I just, yeah, I don't think. Well, I know you don't. You don't enjoy the game when you play it like that, the way that you do when you just play a game, right? Like you enjoy the speed run, not the game. As far as I can tell, maybe that's like so wrong. It absolutely could be, but I don't think. What do I know? I know it's interesting to watch. That's always pretty cool. Down there. Ruby and Sapphire are all full odds, making them technically the hardest to hunt in, but Emerald is broken RNG. You can kind of easily abuse the RNG to get a shiny. Oh. I'll have to look that up, because I don't know how you would abuse the RNG in a game like that. How is Emerald's RNG broken? Or Inca. Actually gaining infinite amount of speed just get through door, yeah. Which is cool, like you get to see people kind of breaking the game a little bit, right? And that's always fun to watch. A little bit more ink to the brush here, and then fill in a bit more around. I would love to add a little bit of heavy ink down towards the bottom of this structure. And it'll look a little much at first, but it's always dries lighter. Good. Dry, kind of in the area that I'm hoping it will. When I say in the area, I mean roughly the shade that I'm looking for. Yeah. Bit under there. Maybe just a little bit more under there. Behind the neck. Yeah, okay. Move into the final set of panels here. So essentially on start, a Gen 3 Pokemon game picks a seed at random when started, which chooses the RNG of the game uses. Okay, basically it chooses a long string of numbers. The game uses RNG. However, Emerald is broken and doesn't do that. So, okay, so if it's not choosing a number, how does it define RNG? Is it always the same? Oh, I guess it's always the same then. Okay, that makes sense then. Okay, so it's just that 8,000 number, like that's that. I guess just what it is. So doesn't that mean that you could start a game? I guess you wouldn't know this information unless you were using like an emulator, right? But could you theoretically start a game, access that number, and then just restart the game over and over again until you get an incredibly low number? I'm shading the left side here, right? Doesn't need a ton here. I kind of want her walking into, not into, away from the light. If the light's over here, we're gonna put this side of her in shadow. X one seed when you create your save, right? It's always the same. If you can find out what the string of numbers is, you can find out what frames give you shiny Pokemon. Got you. All right. That makes sense. And that is awesome. I've always wondered how people can so reliably obtain shinies. I guess there's other ways, right? Like unofficial ways. Like I don't know if Game Shark's still a thing, but I thought Game Shark was illegal when it first came out. I remember there was this video store down the street. I was living in Scarborough, which is here near Toronto. And there was a video store down the street, and this dude was renting burned PlayStation games, which was awesome. I got to play all these, like I think it was there's a Dragon Ball GT fighting game. Can't remember what it was called, but it was excellent. And he was renting Game Shark out. And I thought that renting a Game Shark was the same thing as renting a burned game, where it was just illegal. And that, yeah, it's like too dangerous. There's too much power in the Game Shark to have it possibly be an actual legal piece of tech. I wasn't sure how I would be treating the ground here, but it looks like we're just going in with very light wash. Kind of be hard to see. But yeah, something like that. Actually, we better do these while we're here too. Just the side of this cliff. And yeah, we just a little bit. So to try and match what's on this side. So if you know that you can get a shiny Pokemon in frame 4000 or something, that frame will always give you a shiny. The same stats, nature, and everything, really. That's pretty cool. And I feel like even knowing that, I still don't have the patience to to actually go shiny hunting. People in what is it called when you kind of do the mystery trade, I guess? I was doing a couple this week, and people were sending level 100 or 99, I guess, shinies with perfect IVs, but they would give them the nickname of a website, because I guess they just want you to visit their website. And I didn't really like that very much, to be honest with you. So I just released everyone that I caught. I don't know what's at those websites, and I would feel really weird sharing, sharing essentially a website with a stranger and not knowing what that website is. So I just, released all of them. Getting that frame is not easy, considering you have to nail it with accuracy to 1/60th of a second. How is that possible? I mean, I know that it certainly is, but like, man, wild. Yeah, even when shiny hunting has all of these tips and these methods, it still sounds absurdly challenging. But more possible or plausible, I guess, than kind of winging it, hoping for the best. So I'm gonna add a little those leaves into this panel, just a little. Nicknames are always hilarious. Some of them are. Some of them are just websites. Are you going renew your passport? Oh, very nice. Good luck with that, and thanks for popping in. I hope you enjoy that MK. It's great. It's a really good game. Yeah, you'll have fun. But yeah, thank you. Have a good day, man. Good luck with that. I don't know, once myself just see how it's all done, and it feels more rewarding to just hunt normally. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say at a certain point that just feels like so much more work than you may want to do when you're playing Pokemon. At that point, that's when it starts to feel like what I imagine the speedrunners feel like, where it's more work than having fun. Which again, that's totally cool. I think that's awesome if that's how people kind of want to play, you know, a Pokemon game. Go for it. A lot of cicadas out today, so if you can hear them coming through the mic, I don't know. I hope it's nice. I think they're one of my, well, not I think. I know that they are one of my favorite bugs, but it wasn't until like maybe 4 years ago I saw one in person. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was the coolest thing I've ever seen. Unrelated, completely related. Nincada, I guess, is a Pokemon I've always tried to get to work, and I can never really figure them out. But I'd still like to. Or what does it turn into? Shedinja? Sorry. Exactly. It's Shedinja. There's between shinies from something like a Game Shark and an RNG abused one. Is the RNG one seen as illegal in every game? Right. Whereas hacked and shiny will be illegal. I wonder how it determines that. I feel like you would know this. I feel like you would know how exactly how it would determine that. And so I guess if I'm not mistaken, you can use illegal Pokemon in a game, but is it if you use them online, you're kind of screwed? Is that when they notice it? I'm not gonna lie, I have like 2,000 illegal Pokemon sitting in Pokemon Bank right now, or Pokemon Home. uh, they just like, I think this was probably like 6 years ago. I think I got like I don't know. I, I I bought a 3DS that had a Pokemon game on it, and it was a real Pokemon. I think it was like Black White 2 or something. But they had um like the 3DS was like hacked or something, and I don't know how they did it or what, but it just had thousands of Pokemon on it, and they were all shiny and very high levels with like perfect EVs. We need leaves here, don't we? So maybe I should fix that and either remove them from home or just bid them adieu. Hmm. And actually, it's funny, when I lived abroad, it was just cacophony of cicadas. Oh, you can hear them, okay. Never see them, just hear hordes of them, which is cool but extremely unnerving. I think it's awesome. Like the sound of summer. And they're just the coolest little creatures. Well, very neat. Ninjask is one of my favorite. Ninja 2, cool. Yeah, I've always been a bug Pokemon type person. Always. Every gen, I tend to do a bug team. And I've been trying to get Shuckle to work for a long time. And it's just very hard. Very fun, interesting design for a Pokemon. In terms of like gameplay. Also in terms of visuals. But such a weird Pokemon to like be consistent with, I guess. So I'm gonna just clean up the edges here with this whiteout pen. I'll show you in a sec some of the cool things that it can do. I showed it off early in the week, but let's find a. Perfect. Okay. So these are great for obviously correcting, which you just saw, but they're also really good for effects like rain. It's some really neat. Yeah, like rain effects, and this is incredibly opaque. Like you're not gonna see through this at all, and so it's pretty reliable. It's also waterproof, but it also won't allow you to paint over top of it. The water will just sit there and it won't absorb into it. So you kind of you got to be careful with it. An illegal Pokemon is determined through its ID and your trainer ID, and if it doesn't match, it's counted as illegal. Really? Huh. Must be marked if it has some illegal move or simply shouldn't exist. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I guess they've really thought about this long and hard, eh? They had different calls, different sounds in different regions. It was neat. Yes. So I was in Chicago last year, and I was hearing this buzzing sound, and I didn't know what it was. And it turns out it was cicadas. They just had a different sound, and it was awesome. Very cool. I'm surprised. I don't know. Has Pokemon ever done that? Where they're like, yeah, these... like, does an Alolan Doug Trio sound the same as one from Kanto? I don't think... I think the calls are the same. Not mistaken. Maybe they're edited just slightly. Okay. I think this is done now. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit. A little look-see. Have to adjust the focus, maybe. And maybe not. Okay. I think I can live with that. Okay. Alright, well since we're talking about it, who's the best bug Pokemon? I have thoughts on this, but I think they're pretty vanilla thoughts. Just, you know. I don't think it will be a shocking answer. Especially to anybody who knows who I am. Add these leaves to the other panels, but I think this works for now. It was kind of funny what it is. Legal mons, it either forces them to never obey you, cool, or turns into a bad egg. It force corrupts its data and turns into a useless egg that'll never hatch. That's awesome. I think if you're going to put anti-cheat measures into a game, you kind of have to make them part of the game. And that's, to me, is a perfect way to get around that. Also, I've thought about this more than a few times for some reason. I've just always appreciated the idea that the developers took this game mechanic, which was you can't use Pokemon that are too high of a level or else the game is too easy. They thought about this and they said, well, how do we do that in the game? And it's just, well, they just won't listen to you, which was always so brilliant to me. Because they could have just had it like, oh, you can't use this Pokemon. It's just too high of a level, sorry. But instead they were like, yeah, you can use it. It just like good luck. Not gonna listen to you. Um, just a very little thing that kind of makes the game a little bit better, in my opinion. But that's pretty cool. That's a neat workaround to a legal Pokemon. A sweet spot for Ninjask. I do like Beedrill. Okay, cool. Yeah. No, Beedrill is. I mean, mine is Scyther, and same gen. They kind of perfected bug Pokemon early on, which makes sense because the whole idea was right. It was just about collecting. It was formed when like collecting bugs. So it makes sense that all the bug designs are just going to have kind of a very standard edge, but with a very fantastical element. They get a little wild later on. Like I think Dupeter and Araquanid are neat designs, but at the same time, it's they're very specific. You know what I mean? Like I think that line is based off of a type of spider that can breathe underwater with its web. Like it'll make air bubbles with its web and like breathe underwater. And I think that's pretty cool. I think that's neat that they kind of expanded into just bugs like that. Because I mean, you can only really do so many spiders. Eventually, you'll have to start figuring out what makes spiders unique and then making that about the Pokemon. Whereas in Gen 1, it was just stag beetle, praying mantis, caterpillar, butterfly, moth. It was just very standard issue bug. And I think that there's something very charming and simple about that. But I guess you can say that about a lot. Sorry, this just became a Pokemon Artcast. Anyway, you could say that about a lot of Gen 1 monsters, right? Scyther is a goof choice. Good, gotcha. I think goof choice works just as well though, because it is kind of a goofy looking Pokemon. So is Cleaver, in fact. But yeah, good choice. Good choices. Beedrill is an excellent choice. Just wasp. Well, I guess bee. With stingers for hands and legs. That's so cool. Okay, I think I'm done here. This is just going to be kind of a short stream with a bit of more of a reason to hang out than anything. But I'm going to be back on. I was thinking about streaming tomorrow for like 4 hours while the Kickstarter is live, and just taking requests all day and just drawing kind of live and not really thinking too much about it. Kind of embarrassing myself a little on stream by being unprepared to draw requests that I know I would struggle with so much. But it could be fun, so I may still do that. The campaign goes live tomorrow at noon, and that's noon Eastern. And I'm excited about it. Terrified, worried, excited. All the good stuff. Bug designs are perfect for Pokemon. Metamorphosis really is just Pokemon evolution. Exactly. That's exactly it. Mega Beedrill is one of, if not the best looking Mega. Okay, hold on. Sorry. Mega Beedrill, which I believe they're bringing Megas back for the new Legends game. I think. Oh, cool. Mega, okay. Yeah, that is a neat design. Cool eyes on it. It somehow looks more evil. I love that its arm pincers kind of became less like stingers. Sorry, I said pincers. Its arm stingers became more like swords. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it just looks super slick. Like it's a very, very clean design. Yeah, that's neat. This is, yeah, you can't really see, but it is a very cool design. That's neat. Please do. I need a reprieve from my job that I'm supposed to be doing, and this is kind of the perfect brand. Cool. I may, yeah, I may do a bit of a long stream tomorrow after the campaign goes live, and just hang out and draw. And like I said, it's going to be really bad because I'm not great at requests. I really have to, I'll It'll be bad, but awesome, maybe. So I think that's all I got. I'm gonna peace out now for a little bit. I gotta get 2 pages of layouts done for a different project, and then gotta start getting ready for tomorrow. So thanks for hanging out. I hope it was an interesting stream. In some ways, I feel like just turning the stream into a full-time Pokemon / video game chat stream could totally work. I love talking about that stuff. And it's really interesting, actually, Chugga Chugs. It was super cool to hear about the RNG aspects to those games and how it's changed over the years. And the way they went about implementing it in Gen 3. That's super cool. But yeah, I think I'm out. Thank you for popping in. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll probably be back tomorrow, but we'll see. But probably. All right, peace out. Thank you. Have a good day.